The BFG Chapter 7. The Marvellous Ears. Back in the cave, the BFG sat Sophie down once again on the enormous table. "Oh, is you quite snugly there in your nightie? You isn't friggy cold?" "I'm fine." "Oh, I cannot help thinking about your poor mother and father. By now they must be jipping and scumping all over the house shouting, 'Hello, hello, where's Sophie gone?'" "I don't have a mother and father. They both died when I was a baby." "Oh, you poor little scrumplet. Is you not missing them very badly?" "Well, not really, because I never knew them." "Oh, you's making me sad," the BFG said, rubbing his eyes. "Don't be sad. No one's going to be worrying about me too much. That place you took me from was the village orphanage. We're all orphans in there." "Oh, you was an orphan?" "Yes." "How many is there in there?" 10 of us, all little girls." "Was you happy there?" "I hated it. The woman who ran it was called Mrs. Clonkers, and if she caught you breaking any of the rules, like getting out of bed at night or not folding up your clothes, you got punished." "How was you getting punished?" "She locked us in the dark cellar for a day and a night, without anything to eat or drink." "The rotten old rot rasper!" "It was horrid. We used to dread it. There were rats down there. We could hear them creeping about." "The filthy old fizzwiggler! That's the hardest thing I's hearing for years. You was making me sadder than ever." All at once, a huge tear that would have filled a bucket rolled down one of the BFG's cheeks and fell with a splosh on the floor. It made quite a puddle. Sophie watched with astonishment. "What a strange and moody creature this is," she thought. "One moment he's telling me my head is full of squash flies, and the next moment his heart is melting for me because Mrs. Clonkers locks us in the cellar. The thing that worries me is having to stay in this dreadful place for the rest of my life. The orphanage was pretty awful, but I wouldn't have been there forever, would I? Oh, all is my fault. I's the one who kid-snatched you." Yet another enormous tear welled from his eye and splashed on the floor. "Now I come to think of it, I won't actually be here all that long." "Oh, I's afraid you will." "No, I won't. Those brutes out there are bound to catch me sooner or later and have me for tea." "Oh, I's never letting that happen." For a few moments, the cave was silent. Then Sophie said, "May I ask you a question?" The BFG wiped the tears from his eyes with the back of his hand and gave Sophie a long, thoughtful stare. "Shoot away," he said. "Would you please tell me what you were doing in our village last night? Why were you poking that long trumpet thing into the Gucci children's bedroom and then blowing through it?" "Aha!" cried the BFG, sitting up suddenly in his chair. "Oh, now he's getting nosier than a Parker." "And the suitcase you were carrying, what on earth was that all about?" The BFG stared suspiciously at the small girl sitting cross-legged on the table. "You's asking me to tell you wopsy big secrets. Secrets that nobody's ever hearing before. I won't tell us all. I swear it." "How could I, anyway? I'm stuck here for the rest of my life." "You could be telling the other giants." "No, I couldn't. You told me they would eat me up the moment they saw me." And so they would. You's a human being, and human beings is like straw bunkles and cream to those giants." "Well, if they're going to eat me the moment they see me, then I wouldn't have time to tell them anything, would I?" "No, you wouldn't." "Then why did you say I might?" "Because I's brimful of buzzburgers. If you listen to everything I'm saying, you'll be getting earache." "Please tell me what you were doing in our village. I promise you can trust me." "Would you teach me how to make an elephant?" "What do you mean?" "Oh, I would dearly love to have an elephant to ride on. I would so much to love to have a jumbly big elephant to go riding through green forests, picking peachy fruits off the trees all day long. This is a sizzling hot, muck-frumping country we's living in. Nothing grows in it except snarscumbers. I would love to go somewhere else and pick peachy fruits in the early morning with the back of an elephant." Sophie was quite moved by this curious statement. Perhaps one day we'll get you an elephant. And peachy fruits as well. Now tell me what you were doing in our village. Oh, if you's really wanting to know what I'm doing in your village, I's blowing a dream into the bedroom of those children. Blowing a dream? What do you mean? Oh, I's a dream blowing giant. When all the other giants is galloping off every what way and which to swallow up human beings, I's scuttling away to other places to blow dreams into the bedrooms of sleeping children. Nice dreams, lovely golden dreams, dreams that is giving the dreamers a happy time. Now, hang on a minute, where do you get all these dreams? I collect them, the BFG said, waving an arm towards all the rows and bottles on the shelves. I has billions of them. You can't collect a dream. A dream isn't something you can catch hold of. Oh, you's never going to understand about that. That's why he's not wishing to tell you. Oh, please tell me, I'll understand. Go on, tell me how you collect dreams. Tell me everything. The BFG settled himself comfortably in his chair and crossed his legs. Dreams is very mysterious things. They's floating around in the air like little whipsy misty bubbles. And all the time they're searching for sleeping people. Can you see them? Oh, never at first. Then how do you catch them if you can't see them? Aha! Said the BFG. Now he's getting on to the dark and dusty secrets. I won't tell us all. I's trusting you. He closed his eyes and sat still for a moment, while Sophie waited. A dream, as it goes whiffling through the night air, is making a tiny little buzzing humming noise. But this little buzzy hum is so silvery soft, it's impossible for a human being to be hearing it. Can you hear it? The BFG pointed up at his enormous truck wheel ears, which he now began to move in and out. He performed this exercise proudly, with a little proud smile on his face. And there he is, pointing to his truck-like ear. Huge. As you see in these, how could I miss them? They may be looking a bit preposterous to you, but you must believe me when I say these very extra usual ears indeed. They's not to be coughed at. Oh, I'm quite sure they're not. They's allowing me to hear absolutely every single twiddly little thing. You mean you can hear things that I can't hear? You's as deaf as a dumpling compared to me. You's hearing only thumping loud noises with those little earwigs of yours. But I'm hearing all the secret whisperings of the world. Such as what? In your country, I's hearing the footsteps of a ladybird as she goes walking across a leaf. That's a ladybug to you. Honestly, Sophie said, beginning to be impressed. What's more, I's hearing those footsteps very loud. When a ladybird is walking across a leaf, I's hearing her feet going clumpety clump clump, like giant's footsteps. Gracious me, what else can you hear? Always hearing the little ants cheering away to each other as they scuttle around in the soil. You mean you can hear ants talking? Every single word, although I's not exactly understanding their language. Go on. Sometimes on a very clear night, and if I swiggling my ears in the right direction, and here he swiveled his great ears upwards so they were facing the ceiling. If I squiggling them like this and the night is very clear, I sometimes hearing faraway music coming from the stars in the sky. A queer little shiver passed through Sophie's body. She sat very quiet, waiting for more. My ears is what told me you was watching me out your window last night. But I didn't make a sound. Oh, I was hearing your heart beating across the road, loud as a drum. Go on, please. I can hear plants and trees. Do they talk? Oh, they's not exactly talking, but they's making noises. For instance, if I come along and I's picking a lovely flower, if I's twisting the stem of the flower till it breaks, then that plant is screaming. I can hear it screaming and screaming very clear. How awful. Oh. It's screaming just like you would be screaming if someone was twisting your arm right off. Is that really true? You think I swizz-figgling you? Well, it's rather hard to believe. Then I stop him right there. I's not wishing to be called a fibster. Oh no, I'm not calling you anything. I believe you, I really do. Please go on. The BFG gave her a long, hard stare. Sophie looked right back at him, her face open to his. I believe you, she said softly. She defended him. She could see that. I wouldn't ever be fibbling to you. I know you wouldn't. But you must understand that it isn't easy to believe such amazing things straight away. I understand that. So do please forgive me and go on. He waited a while longer, and then he said, it's the same with the trees as it is with the flowers. If I was chopping an axe into the trunk of a big tree, I was hearing a terrible sound coming from inside the heart of the tree. What sort of sound? A kind of soft moaning sound. It's like the sound of an old man is making when he's dying slowly. He paused. The cave was very silent. Trees is living and growing just like you and me. They's alive, and so is plants. He was sitting very straight in his chair now, his hands clasped tightly together in front of him. His face was bright, his eyes round and bright as two stars. Such wonderful and terrible sounds I is hearing. Some of them you'd never wish to be hearing yourself, but some is like glorious music. He seemed almost to be transfigured by the excitement of his thoughts. His face was beautiful in its blaze of emotions. Tell me some more about them, Sophie said quietly. You ought to be hearing the little mices talking. Little mices is always talking to each other and I is hearing them as loud as my own voice. What do they say? Only the mices know that. Spiders, they's also talking a great deal. You might not be thinking it, but spiders is the most tremendous natterboxes. And when they are spinning their webs, they're singing all the time. They're singing sweeter than a nightingale. Who else do you hear? One of the biggest chatbags is the cattle piddlers. What do they say? They's arguing all the time about who is going to be the prettiest buttery fly. That is all they is ever talking about. Is there a dream floating around in here now? The BFG moved his great ears this way and that, listening intently. He shook his head. There's no dream in here except in the bottles. There's a special place to go for catching dreams. They's not often come into giant country. How do you catch them? The same way you was catching buttery flies, with a net. He stood up and crossed over to the corner of the cave, where a pole was leaning against the wall. The pole was about 30 feet long, and there was a net at the end of it. Here is the dream catcher, he said, grasping the pole in one hand. Every morning I's going out and snitching new dreams to put in my bottles. Suddenly, he seemed to lose interest in the conversation. I is getting hungry. It's time for eats.